Good morning, Marana and Oro Valley. Happy Monday. What a beautiful day. I am going to jump right in. Our guest this morning really isn't a guest. This is one of the really good guys. This guy has been in every home in Pima County on and off for the last 25 or so years.
Yep.
Welcome to the show, Dan Marries.
Thank you, Clint. It's really nice to be here. You and I have been talking about doing this for about a year or two now. Every time we see each other out and about, and we finally made it happen. So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
My pleasure. Thanks for accepting the invitation. You know, speaking of out and about, I see you at the rodeo. I see you at the State of the Town.
Yeah.
I see you at 88 Crime.
Yeah.
You got a gig every week somewhere besides your regular job, right?
And being a dad.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I spent half my childhood in a small town called Pawnee, Oklahoma. And my grandma was from there. My uncle's from there. And so I love the feeling of community, small town.
Me too.
And that's why. I mean, the more you're involved, the more it feels like your own community.
Yeah.
I live and work in Marana and do a lot of stuff in Oro Valley. I mean, I really feel like this move and the overall relationship that Marana and Oro Valley have, it's other municipalities could learn from it.
You know, I know right where you're from. Mm-hmm. I mean,
Pawnee?
Yeah.
Oh, you've heard of it?
Yeah. Well, I used to be an over-the-road truck driver. I've been everywhere.
Okay.
There was a 10-year period in my time I left corporate America and went out and drove one of those big rigs. I'd haul anything you put on my trailer. I'd take it from point A to point B.
I love it.
Yeah, that's actually how I met my wife. So I never.
Out on
that's
the road.
how I ended up here.
Oh, no kidding.
Because I saw it. My first stop was Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm like, I'm going to move here. And a couple of years later, I moved within a mile of where I was at.
Wow.
The first time I stepped on the soil here. You know, you mentioned your kids. I want to go back to kids because if you follow me on Facebook and people that follow me know I'm into kids.
Yeah.
I love kids. I've only got 2 of my own and 1 grandchild, but you wouldn't know that from the people that I'm blessed to know. You have 3.
I have 3 boys.
And 1 just back from
Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. My oldest son, Curtis.
I'm going to grab my.
Oh, yeah. So my oldest son, Curtis, was in Riyadh for 2 months. He was working the eSports World Cup. So he's in the gaming industry. Yeah. He's working for a company out of California. And then this opportunity came up, and he loved it, loved the culture, loved the food. And then my next son is 10. That's Dean. And then my youngest is Preston, and he's 6.
Yeah. I love, you share a lot of posts like I do with my kids. You don't need permission because you are the parent. I ask permission before I start. But I see them and they're in soccer and they're going to school and then they're dressed for Halloween and stuff like that. You're going to be dad of the year one of these days. You know that? Isn't that
it just comes naturally. I love being a dad. And they're also in Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts too, Troop 219.
Yeah, I see you camping on the mountain every now and then.
You know, I wasn't ever in a Boy Scout, so I kind of living vicariously through my boys. But yeah, in June of this year, we went to Camp Geronimo, me and my 10-year-old. And the joke is, everywhere you walk, it's uphill. And it's at the Mogollon Rim outside of Payson. And it was fun, boy. Yeah. I really enjoyed it, camping outdoors, waking up to the music and going to bed with the taps every morning, doing flag ceremony, marching down. It was a lot of fun. I look forward to the next one.
You went camping a couple times this year. You were in Washington or Oregon or somewhere up in the north?
Went to go see my cousin David. Our moms were sisters. And we went right on the Sauk River, Sauk. And I mean, when I say we're camping on the river, we are camping on the riverbank. Yeah. And, in this day and age, with technology and, our phones and our iPads, I think it's very important for me to get my boys out in nature. Yeah. My dad was the same way with me. We grew up camping and fishing and all that. I'm not a big fisherman, but just being outdoors, hiking.
I'll sure eat some fish with you.
Oh, absolutely. As a young kid in Oklahoma, my Uncle Wes, who's like a second dad in Pawnee, we used to go trot lining. So we'd go out on his best friend Bill lived on the Arkansas River. And so we would go out in the river, set hundreds of lines. Yeah. We'd catch some big old catfish. Yeah. My uncle diced those up, put them in some batter, and we'd have some deep fried catfish. Oh, me
still
too.
my favorite.
It's so.
I mean,
good.
I love fish, period. But catfish is still my favorite.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah, maybe we'll have some. You know what? That's kind of a hard find right now.
Catfish.
I mean, in restaurants.
Yeah.
It used to be you could get a catfish,
Yeah.
especially I guess where we're at. I
Yeah.
mean, we're not catching
You're
too
gonna
many
have to-
catfish there.
You know, there used to be a place, I don't know if it's still open, but the Elbow Room, I think it was off Prince Road. They used to have a fish fry. I went to that a few times years ago.
And there's a guy way down south somewhere that's in like a food truck that does catfish.
Well, I'm going to look into it because
I
I'm
can't think
craving
of
it.
his name right now. And he's pretty good. You mentioned Oro Valley Marana and the uniqueness. Again, I moved to Oro Valley, and as Ed used to say, we were discussing our dear friend Ed Homey offline. He used to say, "Clint, you live in Marana," which I do because my businesses are here. I've been in business here 20 years. I sleep in Oro Valley so I feel like I've kind of got. Because it's sure quiet in my back.
Best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
No, and because they're both unique, they both have different special. I talk to John Post a lot and different people from
a good guy.
that. Marana's different than Oro Valley.
A lot.
By age, number one. 39 in Marana. 55 in Oro Valley. So we got a younger group, but more with jobs and stuff. Oro Valley trying to work out of that a little bit, but more retirees, more people my age live there. Well, that's a good blend, right?
It is.
We got working families here, and then we got places with more resorts and stuff. So I see the value in both. But it feels like, and I have a buddy, I'm going to call him out by name. His name is Rick Peralt. He now lives in Phoenix. But he said when I first moved here, Clint, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
I was selling sporting goods. And so if you make a deal with one person, you expect to make that deal. Well, of course, I didn't need that prompting. That's I'm going to treat everybody the same. But boy, I found out real quick, Rick, you were right.
Yeah.
Everybody's related to everybody here or knows somebody. That old Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, I call it the 2 degrees of separation.
Yeah, it's closer
in
than
Tucson.
6.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
I love it.
And so I fell in love with this community when I lived in Phoenix for 12, 13. I love it, the energy, and I was much younger at that time. But when I got here, I'm like, because I grew up in a town of a population of 200.
Okay, small town.
Small. Now, there were towns of 200 everywhere in southern Illinois, not unlike where you grew up in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
A lot of, and now they're bigger. There were plenty of communities, 15, 16, 18,000. I was an hour from St. Louis, an hour from Evansville, Indiana. So there were plenty of big cities, Indianapolis. But everybody knew everybody. So I don't know if that's good or bad sometimes.
I always say it's both. I'll give you an example of that is when I was a junior in high school, I got a speeding ticket. I was coming back into town to Pawnee from Stillwater. Cop pulled me over, and when I got home that night, I handed my key. My grandma was kind of like a second mom, and I got into the door and I handed her the keys, and he called my grandma. He said, "Hey, I pulled Danny over just now. I gave him a ticket." So I walked in and just handed my keys and just knew that I was going to be grounded for a week. Yeah.
Our son, grown, was running an errand for us. This is 10, 12 years ago, maybe longer than that. But he got pulled over by a friend of ours, but didn't quite know that he was. And so I get a call from his wife, and she goes, "Clint, what's your last name?" Crap.
Just got pulled over.
So when Hayden comes in, I'm like, was anything eventful? No, not really. Anything that he goes, well, I did get pulled over by the police.
You're like, I know. Dad knows everything. That's funny.
Does that? But you know what? I said to someone yesterday at church, a good friend of mine, Lori Kramer Clark, and her kids are now in college and doing well, and she posted about them, and I said, how amazing that is, and she goes, yeah, I didn't do that by myself, and she kind of gestured to the sanctuary, and she goes, I had a whole group of people helping me, and I'm like,
Takes a village.
Yeah, it does take a village, and I guess about the only claim to fame we can say is we just didn't mess it up too bad that the village couldn't correct some of those problems.
Very true. Live and learn.
So you say you grew up in
San Diego and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So best of both
how
worlds.
old were you when? So you were born in
Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh,
So
your dad was.
He was Air Force.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was an avionics technician on the B-52, and so he's a native of San Diego. Joined the Air Force right during Vietnam. He was in from 68 to 72. His final base was Elmendorf up in Alaska. And so when I was born, he was getting out. and we moved right back down to San Diego when I was 6 months old, and then stayed there till I was 12, almost 13, and then moved to Oklahoma. It was changing, and my dad didn't like the way things were changing. It wasn't the same San Diego that he grew up in.
Right.
It was just the crime was kind of getting up higher. And this is back in the early to mid 80s. So then, man, I was familiar with Pawnee because that's where my grandma was from, homesteaded there. Well, she didn't. My great-grandfather homesteaded there. And, so we got just family all throughout Pawnee. And then college in Colorado. My first TV job in Colorado. Then I went to Mankato, Minnesota right after college.
Yeah.
I did one winter in Minnesota. No mas. I moved to Yuma from there. I was in Yuma from 97 to 99, and I've been here since 99.
You found home.
I found home.
Yeah.
I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah. The coldest winter I ever spent was in Brainerd, Minnesota.
Oh, I know Brainerd.
I was in the Illinois National Guard.
Oh, wow.
And we were sleeping in tents in January of 1977. And the reason I remember the year, Jimmy Carter was inaugurated president when we were out there. And Dan, the chill factors got down in the 30s, 40s, and 50 belows.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, you move. We moved.
Exactly.
But the people of Minnesota, and I've always wondered if the weather has something to do with this. They were so friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, just the friendliest people I'd ever met. And I've often thought it's got to be because of the weather.
Yeah.
You're all in this together.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool because the reason I left, I had a 2-year verbal contract. It wasn't signed. I'm kind of shocked at that when I look back on it. 2-year verbal agreement to stay there for 2 years. Well, the day I had told my general manager I'd been outside shooting some video, sadly a fatal car crash and a lady hit black ice. So I'm out there filming this and a trooper comes up. He goes, "Hey, you need to check your ear." I run back to the unit. My top of my ear looked like I had a big blister.
Yeah.
It was the beginning of frostbite on my ear. And I was like, "Oh, I hate this place. It's so cold." And I drive right back to the TV station. I walked right in my general manager's office. I said, "Denny, I know I gave you a 2-year agreement, but I'm miserable, man. I need to move somewhere warm." And he gave me his blessing. He was very nice. He goes, "Well, I don't want to keep you here if you're not happy."
Yeah.
So and then Arizona came calling.
Yeah. That you know what? San Diego. You mentioned San Diego. I have a permanent sunburn now.
From San Diego.
From San Diego. I used to never burn. I didn't need sunscreen or any of that. And I'm sitting on the beach in San Diego. The temperature was probably low 80s.
So it felt fantastic.
And it felt fantastic. And a lady walked by me. This was probably, my kids were born, so 20 years ago. And a lady walked by me and goes, "Man, you got
You're red.
You're burning." And you know what? This just stayed with me from then on.
No kidding.
And so that happened one day, and I think it was 01. Because I remember we were there a bunch in 01.
Yeah.
And I got permanently.
So are you a stickler for sunblock now?
No.
Didn't live and learn on that
I
one,
didn't learn one thing from it, Dan. I'm glad no one's ever really asked me that question. They just think it's the alcohol, but I haven't touched a drop in 30 years, so I let them think what I don't really. I can tell from your posts and stuff, you're like me in that respect. I don't really
know
what you're saying or thinking about something.
Yeah.
I did take something down the other day rather than respond to it. I'll mention it now online, is the incident in Miami with the filly Karen taking the ball from the kid, and then went and verbally attacked another dude, then gave everybody the finger, so there wasn't like a one-off, and I didn't even really say anything. I'm like, if you know, you know, and if not, you're going to find out. And somebody went on, "I'd hate to be, anybody filming or sharing my worst day," and I'm like, yeah, but that wasn't just like the worst experience. She just kept going and going. But I thought, you know what, rather than even respond to this, I'm just kidding. I just took the whole post down because I have no skin in the game.
No. Yeah, it's
you got a couple of them that go right at you. I'm like, Dan.
It's kind of sad, actually,
it really is.
Because I often think, man, would you really say that to me if you saw me out at the grocery store? If you saw me at Fry's?
They might. Some people are like that, but chances are they won't.
Chances are they won't. And I think social media, I have a love-hate relationship with it. it's necessary. And what I love about it is, boy, it really brings me closer to viewers. Like viewers are constantly saying, "Hey, can you look into this, or how you do?" And I love that interaction, because if it wasn't for the viewers, I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah,
So I'm very
exactly,
thankful for that. I mean, with you, with listeners and viewers,
man.
And people say, "Oh, I didn't want to bother you, but I saw you and I didn't want to say hi." I was like, "You're not bothering me. I thank you. Thanks for coming up and saying hi. I really appreciate it. I love meeting people. I've always been I'm an extrovert by just the way I live, you know, and I love being out and about. I love meeting new people. And like, it kind of goes back to just feeling like part of the community. I mean, the more people you know, and it's nice. I like listening to people's stories.
And being able to give, you don't do anything crazy personal. I don't do anything. I'm careful, there's so much that I'll share, but most of my personal life, that's my personal life.
Yeah, sometimes I might do a little. I've had people tell me, you need to be more careful.
Yeah.
You're putting your boys here and there.
I don't think because I see you. I think you push the like I do, kind of the envelope, but I don't think you've ever crossed that line. You're just showing your kids in your life,
just like any other parent.
But it makes it then, because I have people, I'm sure you do too, approach me on the street. I don't know them, and they know me.
Yeah,
they know. That's why I put the W up with the Cubs every day. We haven't been doing well, so not as many W's. But now people know that about my personality.
Yeah,
that's a Gary V thing, by the way. He goes, let people know who you are in controlled areas of your life, because that makes you more human than, in your case, someone just reading a story or sharing a story on radio or TV, in your case, right?
Yeah, no.
It gives them a little glimpse behind
who you are. Yeah. And if people don't trust me, I don't have a job.
That's a huge part of it.
That's huge. And, even when I was in high school and in college, I was in DMLA, I was in student council.
Yeah.
I've always prided myself on just trying to be the best that I can be. I was in all that
too, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, DMLA? Were you DMLA? Yeah, my grandma was Eastern Star. My grandfather was a Mason. My dad was a DMLA. And, for people not knowing what that is, it's basically a civic organization for kids run by the Masons. Yeah. And, no secret weird stuff going on.
No.
We went to, a highlight for us is, once a month we went to the senior citizen center there in Pawnee. My grandma was very active in that. And we served food. That was one of our biggest things.
You know how I got, and Kiwanis, JC, excuse me, all that, how I got involved in a personal story real quick. My brother and I were messing around with gasoline and fire when we were kids, and he got burnt real bad.
Oh no, I didn't.
Our neighbor, thank God, the Pipers, they're both gone now. Were Shriners, and they were able to get him in the burn clinic in Cincinnati, Ohio, which was just, my parents first off couldn't have afforded that. I mean, the care that was there, and then the work that they were doing was unbelievable. When we went to bring him home, he was there 2 months. My mom went with him. Wow. I can remember that. That was 1971. I could take you to where we were at, where we were all standing.
Horrible experience.
Oh, because he was burned on his lower extremities. Probably would have died
if it weren't for the Shriners.
If it weren't for the Shriners, because the small local hospital in Jefferson Memorial, Mount Vernon, bless their hearts, they were doing the best they could. But 1971, they didn't have the technology or the skill set to really do what he needed, and gangrene was setting in, and that was my kind of involvement with the D Malays, was that the Pipers were there, and we, like I say, there was no weird. You just went, like you say, went to senior homes a few times, and that was it.
It was a great organization.
Yeah. So I always donate to the Shriners when I see
Absolutely.
Are they I don't see them around and active like I did when I was young. Maybe it's just where we're at.
I think, well, no, it's definitely where we're at. I know Art Del Cueto is a Shriner here in town. He's also with the Border Patrol Union. He's a good buddy of mine. But, unfortunately, was it on Alverdon? They had a big building, the Shriners did, but they sold it a couple of years back. They're still involved. Just met another guy from the Shriners last weekend. You'll see them in the parades. But
See them around with their little cars.
their little
every now and
cars,
then.
absolutely. But like so many civic organizations, especially the older established ones, the younger generation isn't getting involved as much as the older generation. And so a lot of these places are seeing their membership decline at kind of an alarming rate. And so, I think it's important for somebody to find something that you like and you enjoy. Over the years, I had an Optimist Club, and every Christmas we would go to the school districts and say, "Give us the kids that need the most help."
Yep.
And we would get that information from the school counselor, and it's not that hard. I mean, we would throw parties and raise money that way. So we were having fun, throwing a party for a good cause and giving back.
Yeah.
And we actually even took it far enough after a few years of getting more established where we were delivering the presents. We would get about 12 families to sponsor. And I'll tell you what, Clint, out there in Picture Rocks in Oro Valley, we'd walk into some of these houses. There was a hole in the floor in one of them. So one of our members was into carpentry. He went back the following weekend and fixed the hole in the floor. And it took him about 3 hours. And so I just I really hope people can get involved and give back.
My stepfather was in the Kiwanis and got me involved in it several years ago, and I was the youngest. And I was a little younger then, but I was the youngest
At the
by
time.
far
Yeah.
person in that group. And that group, they're all
probably gone
all
by now.
of them are gone.
Yeah.
And that club just was down to 6, 8, 10 members. And I went out trying to do the best I could, and I brought a couple people in. Nobody's. So what I've done, and I know you stay active in the community, what I've done is I've joined boards and been in, like Marana Food Bank.
Yeah, that's a
heavily
great one.
involved in that. That is so big. Matter of fact, we're meeting on Friday to work on some new things we can do. The church get involved in that. But we need more of that because I remember when the Kiwanis were still active in the 10 years ago, man, we'd have 30, 40, 50 kids that they'd bring to over here at the mall to, what is it, Mervin's.
Oh, Mervin's.
And, man, the
I've
kids
heard
would
about that
shop and get a haircut.
Yeah.
And I don't, it went away when those older folks passed on and there was no one to fill that gap.
Yeah.
So it's important that we as a community really look for those opportunities to serve our fellow men.
I agree.
Especially, I don't want to say especially around the holidays because that's kind of an easy one.
Yeah.
What about in the summer when the kids, what we do as a church is we do backpacks and then through the Marana Food Bank, make sure during the summer kids that are in need have food and enough to feed their siblings because it's usually not one kid there.
True. Yeah.
I was talking, Ron Arenas on Southwest Flavor was here last Thursday with Coach Stewart
Okay.
of Marana High School, and we were talking in the green room. There's no green in this building. About that, how many kids that he has that are living with, Nana and 8, 10, 12 cousins and different. And you know what? My heart bleeds for that. It's like, how can we stop that? Because our friend Ed Honey and I used to talk about this a lot. We want to help people. We want to feed them when they're hungry, but we want to help them out of their situation as much as we want to feed their needs today. Is that?
That's absolutely correct. And when you say that, my first thought is the Gospel Rescue Mission.
100%.
Lisa and Bruce out there. I mean, boy, and Lisa's grandfather is the one who started the Gospel Rescue. So talk about
I didn't know that.
Yeah, talk about serendipity. So, I mean, it's more than just a meal. I mean, the Center of Opportunity, actually, and they're having a coffee shop I believe it's across the street from Gospel Rescue Mission coming up. I hope I didn't miss it. No, we're still we are in September.
September the 8th now.
If it's not my calendar, I forget. But if you get an opportunity to help out with the Gospel Rescue Mission, I do every Easter. I do their Blessings to Go, and every Thanksgiving they do that as well. They are all, if you can't afford it, give your time.
100%.
And
There's ways
to
help. A lot of ways to help. Matter of fact, I think that's the last time you and I actually saw each other.
Was that
was at the Gospel Rescue Mission breakfast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
couple
You're right.
months ago.
It was.
I think that was
Yep.
maybe a little more than a couple of months ago, but not too long ago.
Not
How
too long
about
ago.
that?
We're always running into each other somewhere.
Yeah, we are. Well, you know what? Again, I was thinking about this morning on the ride in, and I'm so thankful that you're here. This is fun. You're everywhere. I can't go anywhere, and I don't get out like you do, but I do get out, and you're there.
I kind of get cabin fever. I just like to be out and about. But it is funny. I've tried to make FOMO, the fear of missing out. I suffered from that badly for years. And, some of my closest family members will tell you. So I've gotten to the point now where, yesterday we got up. I said, guys, we've got nothing to do today. Yeah. What do you want to do? Yeah. And when my 10-year-old said, Dad, can we just stay home and swim? I was like, okay. Yeah. But in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we got to get up to Mount Lemmon. We got to go to Madera Canyon. We got to do something. And I'll tell you what, to find the peace and joy at home, I'm learning it. Yeah. And I love it.
You know what? Embrace that more because having a grown child.
Yep.
And you're watching these because when you said 6 and 10 to Preston and Dean.
Yep.
When you said that, I'm like, wait, are you sure?
Yeah. 27, 10, and 6.
Yeah, I come from a family like that too. Yep. But I said to myself, those your younger kids can't be 6 and 10 because I've been watching them grow, and they couldn't be. They're supposed to be like 3 and 6
Feels
or something like that, right?
Oh, time flies.
That's when I look at my kids and they're 30 and 32. I'm like, wait.
When did this happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still the same age. I'm way older now. But you know what? I love that you say that because once a week, we should, as a family, just be a family.
Absolutely.
We don't need to go anywhere.
We do this. We do the Sunday dinner.
Yeah, we should. You got the invite a while ago. You can add Sunday football and.
Oh, I'm so there.
Hey, our kid, we have every toy in the back. Toy, literally, but every cooking. We got the Timberline. We recently invested in the Blackstone. Matter of fact, good. I've got a personal chef at my house right now.
Nice,
which is great. I want to talk about your time here. Your 25 years now. 26 years now. Yeah. What would you say if you, and this is just a random question off the top of my head, and I want to talk about good stuff. You know, if you want bad stuff, there's plenty of places to go get plenty of bad stuff. Matter of fact, like you said earlier, this social media, sometimes you're just like, this is disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are just hollering at each other and poking their finger at each other. And I'm not that. I don't necessarily believe in absolutes either way. Like when Craig prays the sinner's prayer at church on Sundays, or Chris, I pray it every Sunday. You know why? There's no way in the last 7 days I didn't say, do, or think something that I probably shouldn't have. And if I didn't, I'll just make up for next week when I'll probably do it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Totally get what you're saying.
But of all the stuff that's happened, can you think of 2 or 3 things in your tenure here in Marana, Oro Valley, Tucson, that really just like stand out when you saw someone really like be just
like a genuine good,
a genuine good story or an experience that you were involved in? I'm thinking more from a news standpoint because again, no offense, but news just is harsh to watch sometimes.
I know
somebody did something bad, somebody hurt somebody. I know that, but where's the good news? You know what I mean?
And I hear that a lot. Why don't you do more good news? Well, we do a lot of good news, but, crime affects everyone. And so, there's an old saying, if it bleeds, it leads. It's no longer that way anymore. I mean, we do listen and we do try to make a concerted effort. We do stories like a couple of years ago, we did a story on a Vietnam veteran out there at the Marana Regional Airport at the cafe there. And
Sunrider.
Oh, boy, you want some good...
We go pretty regular. Yeah. Yes,
so
sir.
He refurbished his furniture and stuff. And so he would get a hold of people, and if somebody needed something built, and so he built like a handicap ramp up to somebody, all free of charge. And that's just one example of one person living in Marana. Yeah. And so that stands out as a story that, Man, what a great guy.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was a couple
that,
years ago
yeah.
we did that.
And think about how many people that affected directly. Because everybody told that story.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And then how many people that affected because you shared that story. And don't you think when people hear those stories, for the most part, most of them go, how can I do that? How can I do a little more of that myself?
Well, reach out to me personally if you want on my Facebook page. I try to do a pretty good job. Sometimes I get a lot of messages, but don't let me off the hook. Keep on hounding me. People are like, I wrote you a week ago. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I haven't checked my messages. But
we can compare our calendars. I know yours is mine's mostly got lunch and fun stuff on there, but it looks busier than what it is. I'm like, here's the reason why I didn't get back with you that day.
Well, it's funny because this time of year in the fall is when we're all excited living in the Southwest. And it's the springtime for other places. For us, it's the fall. So my calendar is filling up quickly with things to do. We got the Veterans Day Parade coming up. I've been announcing that for the last 15 years. There's just a lot of stuff coming up. We got Rockin' for Heroes is be coming up. I'll definitely be going to that.
I'm glad you mentioned that because Mary Murphy just texted me a few minutes ago and said, hey, tell Dan thanks for all the good stuff.
Oh, I appreciate that, Mary.
She's a wonderful, I love doing life with Mary.
Yeah.
She's just an incredible human being. And the Quins and that whole program with Rockin' for Heroes.
Yeah. I remember meeting Mike when he still had the collision center.
Oh, yeah.
And giving away the cars. I mean, talk about people who, put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like that.
I remember like I mentioned to you off camera, our daughters have known each other since they were, I don't know, they were little. And I remember Mike one Christmas on his Harley pulled up with Emily, and he's dressed as Santa. Nice. And she's dropping off a Christmas gift to the family or to Jordan. I don't remember exactly, but I remember Mike dressed as Santa on a Harley. That was got to be 15 years ago. Good people, great cause. Unfortunately, it's because they lost their son PJ to cancer, and that's just heartbreaking. Every time I think about it, I see his birthday pop up or the memory of his death and things like that. It's just
So if you want to do something good in his memory, come out to Rockin' for Heroes.
Great.
I took my boys there last year, and we had a flyover, the music. I mean, all the vendors. It's a fun event.
I think that's Sunday, November the 11th.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's November the 11th. And did you say you were doing a Veterans Day?
Oh, Veterans Day is November 11th. I believe.
So what's the Sunday? What's the Sunday? Did I miss that? Is it the 9th then?
Let's see. Veil Fest is on November 8th, November 15th. Yeah.
So it must be the 9th.
But it'll be a fun time. And what I love about it, very family oriented.
My bad. It's November 9th.
November 9th. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. That's in my calendar.
Yeah, I knew I was close.
Yeah.
Now did you say you were doing something on the Saturday prior to Veterans Day?
Saturday prior is Veil Fest. It's going to be out at Pima County Fairgrounds, and it's a family-friendly event. It's put on by the Vail Chamber of Commerce. Thousands will attend. So this will be so come out to the Veil Fest
too. And that's probably what?
November 8th.
10 to 2?
In my calendar, I've got it blocked off as all day long.
All day long. So you can find out more about that. I also will mention the Veterans Day breakfast at the Oro Valley Church of the Nazarene. That is 8 to 10 or 10:30. Again, you can go to the Oro Valley Church of the Nazarene's website or Facebook page. There's more information there.
Yeah. And the Veterans Day Parade for Tucson. They put on a nice parade. They, it's all volunteer, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But boy, I'll tell you what, it's fun. They've got old Jeeps, and they've always got the USS Tucson, the model of it, the submarine that bears our name. So it's fun.
Something I'm working on right now, and I knew this young man when he was a kid, is the Chris Moon. I knew him when he played ball back when he was 8, 9, 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm working with his mother and father and members of his squad platoon to do a memorial or a Veterans Day podcast in and around that time frame. That's another one of those just
shouldn't have happened.
Heartbreaking stories. Chris Moon is my personal hero because of what he sacrificed. Now I'll mess the Bible verse up, but he gave his life, which is the most important thing we can do as individuals, sacrifice our life for our fellow man. But every time I drive by Cherry Field, I think about him.
Of him.
I think about him. I was there the day that they put the statue. I don't remember. I got the shirt.
Yeah.
It's been dry cleaned a couple times, but every year the Memorial Day, I whip that out.
Get that shirt out.
Mary's like to me one day, she's like, Clint, I just have to ask you the shirt. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you did because I get to share
the story,
of
yeah.
an incredible young man and his family. That's one of the cool things that I do love about the community that we live in.
Mm.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on that we're unhappy with and we're sad about it and things upset people. But boy, the coming together, the camaraderie, when things do not necessarily go bad, but when we see a problem, boy, the community comes together. I'll give you a great example. We needed a truck for the Marana Food Bank to salvage food. Mm. We collected $50,000 in a week.
Wow, nice.
So we were able a refrigerated truck. So and we got pallet jacks that were electric and stuff like that. So a lot of times there are women or volunteers that are older that can't necessarily.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're weak, but they can't handle because some of these pallets are a ton.
Yeah.
So you need to make it easy for them. Then it became we needed to buy the property. The property owners wanted to sell it right away. $200,000+ was collected in a month.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Because there were people there I'm like, Marana's going to come through.
Yeah.
There's going to be some big checks. I'll give one shout out to Cal Portland. Mm. We thought it was $25,000. They wrote a check for $50,000.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm gonna shout out Live the Dream. We wrote a check for $10,000.
Nice.
It's just one of those things that the community, we saw a need
and fixed it.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of people.
And shout out to Carlos and Luisel and all the people over there, all the incredible volunteers. They do an awesome job, Dan.
Yeah.
I mean, they do an awesome job of running that. The board has we have nothing to do really, but say, hey, you're doing a great job. Keep doing it. How cool is that?
Volunteers, boy, they make a world of difference on who's helping you out.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were volunteers that were in tears when the new. You know how that played out, real quick?
No, how?
We were having some issues. There was, the other. I'm not bashing anybody, just story the way it is. We're having difficulties reaching the community. Mm-hmm. And Ed Honey called Tom Murphy up and said, hey, you guys are running a great food bank down there. Can you send your people up to help us get some ideas of how we can better serve our community? And Tammy and I were sitting in a meeting over there at Marana. Terry Rosema's in the room, and they're talking. Ed's in the room. And Terry, being the smart man that he is, says, hey, why are we reinventing the wheel? Can you guys just expand your reach and come help us?
Yeah.
Back to relationships.
Yep.
Tom Murphy, Ed Honey.
Great relationship. Yeah. Yeah.
You deal with all those. We can't do this show without a real quick shout out to the memory of our friend
Ed Honey.
Ed Honey.
Yeah, I really love that guy. And what I loved about Ed is I could see him at Fry's at the grocery store, and he'd come up, how's your boys doing, Dan? I mean, genuinely interested in how my boys are doing. It wasn't just flap.
Yeah.
He really wanted to hear how they were doing. And I remember one time he said, yeah, I saw your boys are in scouting. That's a great, and then he just went on how great it was to be a scout. And
What's that? Okay, do a quick one.
We'll take a commercial. Are we going to a commercial
break? We're going to go to a quick commercial break.
My
bad, Shay. Thank you for jumping in there.
Here we go. We'll be right back after these messages.
Right back after these messages from our great sponsors.
In Marana, community isn't just where we live, it's who we are. And at the heart of it all is the Marana Chamber of Commerce. We are building a thriving community through connected business leadership. We start the month bright and early with Marana Mornings, sparking real conversations and connections. We celebrate growing networks at our 4th Tuesday mixers, hosted in exciting spaces. We unite visionaries and leaders at Impact Marana, driving meaningful progress together. We look ahead with Marana Insights, hearing directly from regional voices about what's next for our town. And we serve through the passion of our board of directors and ambassadors, creating a culture of belonging through service and leadership. Because of our members, we're not just doing more, we're becoming more. Together, we're shaping the future of Marana. We are the Marana Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. Thank you. That was a great one. That's some of our, we were watching here. That was some of our favorite people. I love that commercial when I see it playing. I don't feel like that's a commercial. I feel like this is a video of some of our favorite people.
Yeah.
That's a great Marana Chamber of Commerce.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
work with them a lot. For the mayor's speech. We were talking about Ed Honey before we went to that break. He did the town address, and this year was the first time he hadn't done it in all those years. And I'll tell you what, I thought the folks in Marana did a great job of moving. Marana's always moving forward while maintaining the rich cultural history that Marana has. I mean, all the farming over the decades. Yeah. But it was very strange not to have Ed Honey at that town address. And that man, I was flabbergasted, years ago when he asked me if I could MC it. Now, I was always the host for the last 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there the very first time I ever did it, and he's like, "Hey, thank you, Dan, for being here." And I was like, "No, thank you, Mayor. Thanks for having me." And I'm kind of going over my script as the master of ceremonies. And I'm like, "Well, where's your script?" He didn't have one. I'm like, "You're going to give a state of the town address without a script?" He goes, "Yeah, just remember it all. It's easy when you love what you're talking about." And I thought, wow, Mayor, thoroughly impressed.
Hey, and quick secret about Ed, and it was no secret, everybody knew, especially the last several years of his life, he had a real hard time seeing. Although, I said, I think you see better than what you're letting on. And I'll tell you, you know where I'm going with this.
You having as a chauffeur, huh?
Yeah, well, but he knew where all the ladies were in the room. No offense, but so Melissa Zuppi, John's little sister, said, "Clint, I see you're kind of," and I'm not really a hugger, but I've gotten in I said, "I'll take that job." So now I'm hugging dudes and dudettes alike, but yeah, he just was. You know what? Here's what I've always said about Ed. He cared about you. Period. Yeah. If he met you, he knew you didn't care. But if you lived in Marana or worked in Marana or had any association with Marana, he wanted the best for you. Yep. Period.
Absolutely.
Man, woman, child, school. Did you ever get in an argument with Ed?
No.
Oh yeah,
not even close.
Oh yeah, I'm right. This is like two brothers, man. As a matter of fact, John Post said, if you haven't had an argument with Ed, maybe you didn't spend enough time with Ed. And it was never
not in a bad way.
Not in a bad. No, not in a bad. We were actually at the Skyrider not long before he passed away, and Cammie was there, and David was there, and maybe a couple other people. And Ed and I were kind of getting at it pretty good about. I actually remember what it was about education and just, and he looked at Tam and he goes, "Am I going to have to take an Uber home?" Tammy goes, "No, Ed, it's going to, It was just, he was feisty. Mm-hmm. Ed was a feisty guy is the best way I can put it. And
for your corner.
For
Marana's
was
corner.
For you.
Yeah.
Was rooting for you. And I probably, some of that kind of did it almost on purpose. I hate to say that I baited Ed, but just to push him a little bit. Because you know what, man, once you got him going, because he had this persona in public that was, he just loved everybody. But the other persona, and I'm not giving away secrets, people that know him knew he was this way. Man, he was going to fight to the end on what he believed was right, which is what you want. Yes. In a leader. Yeah. Correct?
Sure. Absolutely.
I post a lot about leadership now, Dan. Mm-hmm. I think, and I'm not talking about leaders as a whole. I'm talking about leaders as a whole. I guess I contradicted myself, but I mean leaders in every aspect.
A strong leader.
A strong leader in your families, in your communities, at your school. Not bullies, not belligerent. That's not what. Matter of fact, those aren't leaders.
Mm-hmm. No,
right?
Not at all.
If you got to bully people, you're not a leader.
No.
I want natural-born leaders that can stand up with and say, "Hey, this is where my values are. This is where my integrity is. We're not crossing this off. We're not crossing this line. Yeah. And who's in this with me?
Yeah. No, it's important. As the main anchor, the evening news anchor for KOLD, it's a leadership role in the newsroom.
100%.
And I take it seriously and I use it with pride. I mean, these new reporters that are coming in, they're brand new to town. They have no contacts, nothing. And I remember that. That was me 26 years ago. Like, what do I do? I'm here. Who do I call? What do I do? And I thoroughly enjoy helping out the younger reporters. Yeah. Hey, if you're doing this story, here's who you need to call. And if this person can't help you, they'll find somebody who can for the interviews and everything. And I love it. It is kind of strange being the old guy in the newsroom now. I mean, I'm calling them kids. These kids are coming in as reporters. They're younger than my oldest son. I was like, when did this happen? Because
wait till you're pretty much always the oldest person in the room, Dan. Which I look around the room a lot and I'm going, when did this happen?
Yeah, because I still feel like I'm 25, 30 years old.
I know.
In my mind.
My wife mentioned this one day. She goes, "You've grown into." I had really 3 great mentors in my life, and they kind of came along at different times. My father, who passed away when I was 37, 2 little kids, way too soon to lose him, right? But he set the example and the foundation of what a man should do and how. He was a great guy. My dad, I'm a preacher's kid, so there was that. Then I had a gentleman come along after that. His name was Dick Clemens. He came like right after my dad had passed away. I worked with Dick. He was basically my dad's age. Just a great guy. He didn't have sons. He had daughters. And I wasn't replacing daughters in his life, but I was the son he didn't have. And I wasn't replacing my dad with him. It's just, it was cool that I had, and then my stepfather. Came along a few years later, role model, great guy, business exec with 3M, and people that know the story, and it's a real cool story. And I'll share it with you when we're done, just real quickly. But so I had 3 mentors, and my wife one day, a few years ago, said, "You've grown into those guys.
You're the mentor now."
Yeah, you just grew into it, and you don't even know it when it happens. Yeah, like you just. When did this happen?
Yeah, when did this happen?
So you had people. Who were those mentors?
Well, like you, first and foremost, was my dad.
Yeah.
I looked up to him so much as a kid. He was a helicopter pilot, so I love telling people what he did. He helped me get into the fire industry. For 4 seasons, I was a wildland firefighter, and. Really neat story. My very, very first fire that I was on, it was in Grand Junction, Colorado. I was on a 20-man hand crew, and my dad was the helitack pilot on this fire. So the crew boss of my 20-man crew knew this, it's Grand Junction, Colorado. And so he says, "Hey, do you want to call in the helicopter coordinates for the bucket drop?" And I said, "Yeah, it's my dad." He goes, "I know, that's why I'm asking you." I go, "Oh, okay." So I'm calling in, we got a tree on fire, we need a bucket drop here. And I'm standing there, and my crew boss like, "Oh, hey, don't get hit. You got to get out of the way. Don't get so close." So I'm calling it in, and all of a sudden, here comes my dad in the helicopter, and he keeps on coming towards me. And I'm like, "No, the tree, no." And now I'm getting flustered because I don't want to mess up, and I'm on the radio. And all of a sudden, man, he was high enough where I wouldn't get hurt, because you can't get hurt if you do this.
He gave you your baptism.
He gave me my baptism to wildland, and the water came from a cow pond. Clint, it stunk so. We camped out on the fire that night. I smelled like cow dung.
Yeah.
But man, as soon as he did it, he starts flying away. He goes, "Son, welcome to the wonderful world of wildland firefighting." And so Dad was first and foremost. My Uncle Wes, he's like a second dad. And he's still alive. He's 90. He'll be 92.
Oh man.
He was just out here in May. Came to visit.
Yeah, there were a picture or two, right?
Yeah, that's my Uncle Wes, and he was with me in 2014 when I was the Grand Marshal of the Tucson Rodeo Parade. He came out from Oklahoma, rode with me on that.
He's a real cowboy, isn't he?
He's a real. He's a man. He's from Pawnee, Oklahoma, construction business, a Korean War veteran. He still raises cattle at 92. Yeah. Just can fix anything. And so when I was a kid growing up, he helped me, or he hired me to do the brush hogging on his subdivisions where the lots didn't sell.
Brush hogging. Now, there's a word I haven't heard in a while.
And it's hot.
You want to tell people what brush hogging is?
Well, brush hogging is basically a big old tractor. Well, it's a tractor with a big thing on the back, a mower.
Yeah.
And so, it's what? I mean, it's the size of this
it's
table.
eight feet,
maybe 8 to 10
feet,
lawnmowers
yeah.
wide.
Yeah.
So instead of doing one swath, you can get a lot done.
Brush hogging.
Brush hogging, yeah.
That was not on my bingo card for today's conversation, Dan.
I loved it. And, I was in 8th, 9th, 10th grade.
Yeah.
And, I mean, back then,
Did you ever
I kinda
bale
enjoyed
hay?
it. Yeah, I sure did.
Isn't that the toughest job you ever had in your life?
I hated that job. I mean, I did it because I think we got paid 2 or 3 cents a bale.
Yeah. You'd work all day for maybe
all
$20.
day long. But it
Now, $20
seemed like
back
a
then
lot.
was
it
was $100.
Yeah, I'm going back to the late 80s on this
yeah,
stuff.
I'm a little earlier than that, but yeah.
Yeah, he hired, because I was in wrestling at the time, so my uncle would pay me and my best friends, and then if he didn't, JT Adams and all his other buddies
Yeah.
would say, hey, got a bunch
I'm
of kids
telling
who
you,
want
the
to do.
toughest job I ever, and I've done a lot of pretty tough stuff, but not even close.
It's
to
hard.
that.
Oh, I couldn't.
And
I
then
don't-
you got to get it in the barn.
Yeah. First you load it, then you unload it. And it's like, man.
You got to throw it up in the loft and restack it all over, and it's hot and it's
Hot and humid, 'cause
hot
this was
and humid, and
Oklahoma.
your arms are just can't move your
Itching.
arms for a day.
No, and then
the
the
bales are
cuts.
bigger than me, Dan.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a lot of
Go ahead, though.
tough
I want
work.
you. So your father, your Uncle Wes, and
Yeah.
you know what? Can I stop right here real quick and jump in?
absolutely.
How blessed were we, and in your case, your uncle's still with us,
Yeah.
to have these role models in our home day in and day out? That's a blessing. I mean,
Beyond what you realize.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of take it for granted. You don't even take it as mentoring when you're growing up.
don't at all.
It's just happening. It's
That's
just,
my
you don't
dad.
know anything else. Yeah, like, my dad used to take us camping and fishing, and so did my Uncle
Yeah.
Wes. I mean, trot lining on the Arkansas River, seining for crawdads in his ponds on the land, his farmland. So all these memories as a kid, they all led up to who I am now, where I am now, and it's basically I was raised, if you work hard, you're gonna be successful. And I mean, I got my first job as a paper boy in 4th grade. I've been working since 4th grade.
I have too.
And at times I've had 3 jobs. So I painted houses.
Yeah.
I've been a janitor. I mean,
I've done all those things,
yeah,
Dan.
Yeah, and
And still do sometimes. Well, I don't do much anymore. Full disclosure. Now, I don't want anybody to catch me in a bold face. Clint, I haven't really seen you do much lately, which
Yeah.
I haven't. You know why? I've surrounded myself with good people
Exactly.
that can do it.
Get it done.
Yeah, get her done. Go ahead.
I
Go
was
ahead.
going to say,
No,
so
I want to,
all throughout high school, I worked at the same grocery store as Cheatham's and
Sharp's
Pawnee.
grocery store.
Sharps for you? I was a bag boy.
Yep.
And so I started off my freshman year, did freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and Keith Cheatham was my boss. And I remember my senior year, he actually let me start helping the butcher.
Yep.
But my nightly job before we closed was sweep and mop the entire store.
Yep.
And that's just
And clean the butcher shop.
and clean the butcher
Because
clean
my
the equipment.
parents owned a small grocery store, and at 14, 15, my brother and I, he's younger than I am, we were butchering meat.
Yeah. Yeah.
In that, I mean, with the bandsaws.
Oh, I loved it.
And Sharps wouldn't let me butcher because I wasn't old enough.
Too young.
But they'd let me clean
Yes.
and touch all the knives and stuff. They would let me do that.
The
And I'm
only
like,
thing
actually, that's more dangerous than the actual cutting. But okay.
The only thing he let me do is I could ground the beef. I couldn't use the saw to
Yeah.
cut the steaks.
Yeah.
But so fast forward when I'm a junior in college and I do my internship at the CBS affiliate in Grand Junction. I'm doing an intern, and so I'm doing everything: shooting video, writing stories. I want to absorb it all. And somebody spilled pop in the studio. And so as an intern, I see it. I knew where the bucket was.
Yeah.
So I went and got the mop bucket, and I swept and cleaned the entire studio floor. And as I'm doing that, the general manager walks through, a guy named Joe, and he goes, and he wanted to know who I was
Yeah.
because we didn't have a janitor
Yeah.
at that place.
Who are you?
We're a small TV
Yeah.
mark. And he goes, what are you doing? Who are you? Why are you mopping? I go, somebody spilled something. I was just mopping it up. I'm Dan Marries. I'm an intern here. And that was that. And he goes, well, thank you. A couple months go by. My internship ends. They get a morning position open. I hound the news director, Mike Marana.
Yeah.
I said, Mike, I really want, can I make a tape? Can I do this and that? So he lets me come in. I make a tape. It's where you basically sit on the set and you read the scripts. I look like a deer in the headlight. I don't know why I got hired. But my news director told me this later. He goes, when he showed my tape to the general manager, Joe said, that's the kid that was mopping the floor. And that is why I got hired.
Yeah.
I was very rough around the edges. I didn't know what I was, and it's because he saw my work ethic mopping the floors when I was an intern trying to be an on-camera person, on-air talent. And I tell that story when I go to kids and speak to them at career fairs. Man, just get your job done, do it well, do it with pride.
I got a quick story. Dave Samarano,
Yeah.
the CEO of Live the Dream Media. You know what he did? The very first thing he did as the CEO of this company, the first day.
What do you do?
We had a monsoon. You know how monsoons can wreak havoc?
Oh, yeah.
We had a little leak in the front window, or you know what? I came in that first morning. David's the new CEO of Live the Dream Media, and he's got the mop bucket and the bucket, and he's over there mopping the floor. I tell everybody that comes through here, if the CEO can mop the floor on his first day, we can all mop the floor on
Absolutely.
his first day.
Yep.
Dan, this was fun. I'm going to ask you straight up.
Is it already over?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, I'm going to ask you straight up. Come back.
I would love to. That went way too fast.
Yeah, that was way, because you know what? As we got really going, I'm like, oh, we're leaving. I'm going to say the meat on the bone. I'm going to use the butcher. The butcher. We got way too much meat on the bone. I'd love to have you come back on a regular basis.
It'd be my honor.
Hop in and out of here and continue to share. You know what? I want to go back to something we said, because I don't want anybody to think it came off this way. First off, you're the only news station I watch.
Thank you.
Locally.
Thank you.
And I get my local news from you.
I appreciate it.
You're great at what you do. You're so informed. I feel like in this case, it literally is. I feel like I'm listening to a neighbor, which you are, and I love your stuff on social media. But you guys do actually a really good job, and I appreciate it. And I see it even more of trying to be more than just. Although crime affects everybody, and we need to know about it. We can't ignore it.
Yeah.
You seem to really try to balance.
Absolutely.
That you really do. I see an effort at it.
And it flows downhill. Our general manager, Rob, news director, Jessica, they're big in a community. So not only just for our news coverage, but just being involved.
Yeah.
And, I love it when I have a news manager like that.
Yeah.
They're very supportive. If I say, hey, I would like to do this, this, and this, as long as it's not a political event, I got to remain objective and non-biased. Yeah. But stuff like this, absolutely. They really do see the value in it.
There is value. How do we, because the best way to solve your problems is for all of us, and I'm talking about a community, or
we talk.
We talk about it.
It starts with talking.
100%.
and with our new age, real quick, I was in the newsroom, and there was a newer employee. This was about a year ago. I get a message through Teams, like, "Hey, how do I do this?" I literally stood up, and they're 10 feet away. I was like, "Come on over, let's talk. Let's not do this over Teams. I'm right here." Yeah. And I was like, "Well, I didn't want to bother you. You're not bothering me." Yeah. I really want people to know that I'm a dad first and foremost, and
dad first, news anchor, and a valued member of our community.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
That's how I look at you. That's how I look at all of them that are trying to. Because at the end of the day, I believe the Warren Buffett, rising tides will raise all craft.
Absolutely.
And I believe that. I want your craft as high out of the water as it can, and everybody else's, because from a selfish standpoint, I know that benefits me. If everything's going, that's why I'm so big. I'll leave it with this. I'm so big on our kids' education. I think we do a lot of things right. I think we do a lot of things wrong. But here's why I'm big on it. As I get older, I see the value of having well-educated younger people taking our positions. Matter of fact, I say, it's your turn now. If you're a younger person, it's your turn right now. We're passing the baton. You better be ready.
Yeah.
And that means every capacity, right? Road builders, educators, ministers, doctors, lawyers, accountants. We want the best, right? From a selfish standpoint. So I need you to get the best education, which means we as adults and parents and members of our community have to do the best we can to ensure that. Is that fair enough?
I agree with you 100%.
Dan, are you coming back?
You have
we'll
my
set
word.
something up. Yeah.
It's right here on record. It's on the record.
That's why I always ask people online that I want back. I want to get it on record. Hey, guys, thank you so much. That was a quick.
I can't believe it's over.
We got an hour.
Yeah.
That was an hour. That was fun. You know what? Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And like I always say, hey, be nice to each other. It's just